I need to move my. Hey y'all, what's
Hey,
up?
hey,
What's up?
hey.
It's me and Shay all day. Hey, welcome to Heightened and Enlightened,
Oh,
y'all.
no.
We know y'all missed us and we missed y'all too. We know. Sometimes
Yeah.
we got to be apart for a while.
Okay,
Let
there
me.
we go. I gotta turn the volume down. Okay. Come on in. Come on in.
Yes, y'all come on in. I am just making sure that we are set up everywhere. You already know how I do, y'all. Y'all come on in here. Make sure that you say hey when you're popping on. Let us know that you're here. Let us know that you missed us like we missed you. You don't have to let us know. We know. You know.
Right. Gonna wait for a couple people to come on and then start our little official introduction and send this out, share it out, highlight followers.
Making sure that we're on. And then our live chat is turned on for YouTube. Yep. Okay, good. We're good. We're good on YouTube. It's a go. Action. Hey,
And
hey, Michelle. Hey, D. Y'all come on in here, pop on. Make sure that you say hey when you get here. Make sure that you
right.
guys are dropping those highlights in the comments. Michelle, you changed your name, girl. What's this about? Tell me all about it. It says
There we
Mitch.
go. Oh, look, I see that too.
I wonder why I can't see your destination.
Well, I don't know what in the world. Okay.
Let's see. Well, no, I can see. Let me go check and make sure yours
Well,
is
it's and
public.
that was just a notification that popped up on my thing. I seen her name.
Oh yeah, no, I can see. I can see the comments. Yours is
Okay.
public tonight, so we're good to go.
Okay, and I put highlight because you see my highlight comment, right?
Yes, y'all make sure you drop the highlight in the comments. Profile for Monopoly Go. Girl, you're addicted. Heard, got it. Well,
Follower.
where's the one on my page? There it is.
I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Okay, well, all of my followers, I highlighted it so you guys will see it, sent some out. Yeah, come on in, come on in. All right. Whenever you're ready, I can do the official introduction.
Girl, I stay ready, so we ain't got to get ready.
Hey.
I just had to move. I just had to move it around just a tiny little tad bit. It was just a little bit high up there. I was
Okay.
looking crazy.
Okay. Yeah, you balanced out now. I got you on two screens.
Period.
Boom.
But why
Okay.
can't I can't see myself on my own page. That's the scary thing. Oh, there it is. Finally. Ooh. And followers.
Okay. There we go. For everybody on YouTube that's tuning in, welcome on in. Thank you guys for watching.
If you guys are just popping on, make sure that you say hey in the comments. Don't be on here creeping and not speaking. We don't get down like that.
Right.
Here we like to communicate and talk to each other. So y'all just make sure that you say hey. Make sure that you're getting us shared out to your page. If you don't know how to do that, make sure you hit that arrow pointing. That's going to be your share button. Change it to public, which is going to be the globe. So you're sharing us out publicly to your page. And then come back here and drop that at highlight in the comments. We do appreciate it. It does help us get exposure and get out there. For those of you guys tapping in on YouTube, make sure that you comment. Let us know that you're here. We can see your comments on this side as well. They're not speaking. We don't get down like that.
Oh.
Yeah, watching NASCAR on our phone. All right, Michelle.
Okay.
Hey, yo, what's up, baby sister?
Okay.
Hey, Shannon.
I can't see anybody, but yeah, that's because it's on there.
You can't see it on your streamer?
No, well, I have to do a whole nother thing to even see that on StreamYard.
Oh,
I
well, no
can,
worries. I got you. Hey,
yeah.
Melanie. It's just us two tonight,
Hello,
y'all.
everybody.
So we got to,
Okay.
compensate for Rolo not being here. So we might be a little bit
Right.
extra tonight. It's fine.
Right, right, right. All right.
Rolo, his daughter's birthday is today. And so he has family at the house. He said
Yes,
that
and
he,
happy birthday, Tug. Special shout out to Tug.
yes, happy birthday, Auntie's baby. She's so beautiful. Love you too, baby sister, and I miss you. I'm glad that you're doing good out in Colorado. Hey, we're gonna have to make a trip. We're gonna fix your face.
It's fixed. Okay, so all right. We ready to get into this official introduction. Okay. All right, so everybody, welcome, officially welcome in to Heightened and Enlightened, the live show. Um, we are your hosts. I am Shay. This is Ashley. Rolo's not here tonight due to family issues, but hey, we still represent for Rolo. But
I don't think it's family issues. That was very
well, not family
controversial.
issues, not nothing negative. It's Took's birthday, but everybody don't know that, so it's family stuff. He got family stuff going on, celebrate baby girl's birthday. So either way it go, we gonna specify that. But anyways, on this show, you get to hear real stories, have real conversations with real people in real time, stuff that we all need to talk about. Just to kind of recap, last week we did a special, very special Father's Day tribute to all the awesome daddies, step daddies, step in daddies, uncle daddies, grandpa daddies, all of y'all. Yeah, we shouted y'all out. So that show was very special. If you guys want to catch it, you can catch a replay here on Facebook, on the Heightened and Enlightened page, or Ashley's page, or my page, or you can go watch it on YouTube. So you can always check that recap out. As far as this week, today we're gonna get into something a little more serious, but y'all know we like to make everything interesting, so it's still gonna be a fun conversation. But we're gonna talk about how hurt people. you know um that happens a lot, whether you're aware of it or not. Nowadays these kids call it crash out missions. A lot of these people crash out because they're hurting, you know what I'm saying? So we gonna shed a light on the crash outs, why they crashing out. And then we also gonna talk about how you can avoid crashing out on someone else when you're hurting, because that's important. That's really important. Question of the day. So let's go back to that. I asked the question of the day on Wednesday, and my question was, what do you do um, to stop yourself from hurting someone else in the midst of your pain? I am aware that some people are not aware of it, but for the people that are aware, like, what do you do to kind of stop from hurting other people in the midst of your pain? So drop it in the comments. Let us know, how you handle that, because different people, different strokes for different folks. Some people handle it different. I think I commented on it. Me, I try to stay accountable when I'm in the midst of my hurt. I know when things are too much for me, because I am a retired crash out. I can admit that. So with that being said, now, like, when I'm in the midst of my pain, I'm very conscious and I'm very accountable and I'm very aware. So when I'm hurting, I don't want to project on anyone. So I'll tune people out, and I do things that help promote self-healing for me. I love music. I go outside. I do what I need to do to get back right before I can handle everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's different. So Ashley, how do you handle that?
Well,
How do
I'm
you?
still a recovering crash out. I'm still in recovery. So I will say that Shalonda's probably a little bit more healed from this topic than I am. What I do now that I'm not a crash out like I used to be, I don't act crazy anymore. I take a step back. I take a breath. No, I'm kidding out. But for real, I used to be a crash out real bad. I used to crash out to where I would have to go to jail to stop crashing out. And so now, instead of getting to that point, I usually just shut down, and I'm starting to realize that that's not healthy either.
Yeah.
Because my shutdown is a shutdown. Like, I don't want to be bothered with nobody. I don't want to be around anybody. I stopped answering phones. I kind of distance myself from my family, my husband, and everybody else around me. And so now, that I'm growing and healing, I'm realizing that me shutting people out when I'm hurt is hurting other people, and hurt people do
Yeah.
hurt people, which is what we're talking about tonight. And so I'm working on communication. I'm working on being able to open up and talk about how I'm feeling and why I'm feeling that way, and learning how to articulate in a way that's not aggressive, because a lot of people say that I talk very aggressively. It's the tone, baby. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
That's just who I am, you know. But learning how to take a step back and really evaluate the situation before I really project my feelings onto other people or shut down,
Yeah.
shut people out. So I'm
I'm still
working on
working
it.
on that. I'm still working on the aggressive part myself because I would love to say that I'm not aggressive, I'm assertive, but being real, when I feel offended and when I feel disrespected, that aggression is still there. Now, I know how to articulate myself verbally. So now I know how to put the words in place to let a person know how I'm feeling, but I still haven't mastered the art of having the right tone.
Yeah, me neither.
That's an art, you know what I'm saying? So I still haven't mastered that. But I'll say, like I say, it keeps me from projecting. The fact that I know how to put the words into play, it keeps me from projecting too tough. You know what I'm saying? Because like I could tell a person like, all right, I'm feeling like this, so I need you to back up. You know what I'm saying? Like, just leave me alone, give me a little bit. I even have to exercise that with the kids. Like when I'm just not, when I'm really going through it, I have to even tell them like, look, I'm going through it. Give me a minute. Let me get myself together. Then I can deal with you. Because mommy don't want to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? So I've had to even practice that with them. And I feel like talking about your feelings can get hard, especially if you don't know the words to use. And then feelings, that's like a bottomless pit. And it depends on how you look at your situation at that particular time, because sometimes when we're in the midst of our hurt, all we see is the hurt. And that is the part that I try to stay aware of, because when I'm in the midst of my hurt, I don't want to stay in the hurt. So I find positive words to use, and that's what makes me stay with that articulation. Like I can, what I'm saying, express myself good.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Um, let's see. So we have Michelle says, step away from the situation when it's too much at the time.
Yeah.
Use kindness and grace with my words now. And then Melanie says, I say it's all in my head I say it all in my head or to a trusted person, not to the person I really want to lash out at. So for me, before I even lash out, I have the conversation in my head a couple of different times just to see, hey, Lacey. I probably have that conversation in my head a couple of different times just to see if I sound like a crash out before I actually crash out. And sometimes, even if it sounds kind of crash outish, I still just crash out, depending on the situation. Like I'm the type where if I want you to leave me alone, I will let it be known, like, man, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Please leave me alone. But when I get to the point to where I feel like it's not what I'm saying is not being heard, I do sometimes go into crash out mode.
Yeah.
And I really don't mean to, but it happens, y'all. Even after I rehearse it in my head in a healthy way, like this is how the conversation's gonna go. If it doesn't go that way, I have a tendency to crash out or shut down.
I feel like them conversations in your head never turn out how you expect them to anyway.
They
Like
be sounding so good
man,
though.
they sound so good in your head. And then it's like as your mouth gets to talking, you forget something, or then, and then not to mention for me, it's depending on what I get from the other person. Because for me, I can have a whole conversation with myself in my head, but then let's just say I didn't expect their response. And then now I got to go a whole different route.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, hey, and it's all about the response, especially, and I think the Taurus in me has a lot to do with that because I'm still very stubborn. And
Yeah.
and I still get angry, like, to the point where sometimes, like I said, the best thing for me to do is shut down. But I'm still
Yeah.
very stubborn. So if I'm stuck on something, and sometimes like, yeah, I'm not even gonna get on here and fake. Sometimes I know I'll be dead ass wrong. Okay. And this is taking accountability. Okay. And I will just say the first thing that comes to my mind, knowing that this is about to start an argument. But if
Yeah.
I'm in crash out mode, like I really just don't care. Like if I'm hurting and it's something that really hurt me, like I want you to feel the hurt like I do and say, I just be saying some crazy off the wall type things. Like if you go low, I go to hell straight up. And
Yeah.
and I'm trying to step away from that and really learn how to not to go to hell and instead elevate the conversation and try to find some kind of common ground where we can just be okay. But sometimes that is hard, especially in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Teresa.
Hi, Kendra. I see you on here. Hey, cousin, say something.
Um, Ebony says, sad part is I give myself multiple scenarios and run them through my head and it still happens. Girl, me too.
Yes. Yeah, that happens too.
Melanie said sometimes it's better to say nothing at all and let them crash and burn on their own. Girl, sometimes I just don't know how.
I was about to say
Lacey,
that's my problem too. Still to this moment, because I have that problem that Ashley just said. Like when I'm feeling the type of way, that's why now I stop now because I used to be petty Betty. I was the petty queen. So like how Ashley said she, you go low, she go to hell. I believed in tit for tat. Like that, my dear, you get me, I'm gonna get you. I might get you before you get me. Like that's what type of time I used to be on. But as I healed, I was like, you know what? I mean, and when people bring their drama to me now, I really stop and think. Sometimes I don't even respond instantly. Like, people get upset about that, but I feel like in those heat of the moments to decrease the extra hurt, then I'm just not I'm gonna take time to think. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna respond initially because that's what's gonna get you hurt. That's what's gonna get your feelings hurt. If you were trying to hurt me, wanting the initial reaction out of me is gonna get you hurt back. That's why I'm like, now I just don't even entertain it. If I know that blood in me is boiling in on the inside, you know what? I'm gonna let you have it and I'm gonna go about my business.
yeah, yeah. So I'm learning too, like I used to be really bad at listening to respond.
Yeah,
Because if you piss me off, like I'm listening to for something that I can use to piss you off so you can feel the same way I feel. And now I'm to the point to where I don't really listen to respond anymore. I really listen to understand or gain clarity on why this person feels that way. And I've learned to step outside of myself now too and really try to look at things from all different aspects of it because I believe like you can never really truly understand somebody's perception until you really listen or know who they are as a person. Like
right.
you really have to know like why a person is. The older I get, the more I like to observe people and try to
Yeah,
figure out why are they really like this? Like what have they been through in life that makes them like this? Because I'm not gonna lie, when I was younger, I was an angry person just by
yeah,
nature. And it's because I felt like I went through so much young that why was my life like this? Why was I dealt this life? And I was just so angry all the
yeah,
time. And I would just project that in all of my relationships and all of my friendships. Like I was loyal. I love my
yeah,
friends, but the minute something doesn't go the way it's supposed to, like yeah, it's a crash out, like literally a
yeah,
crash out. And my crash outs were terrible back then, because I was so angry, like I wanted to fight. My first instinct was physical. Well, let's fight about it then. You
yeah.
you feel some type of way, I feel some type of way. We ain't got nothing left to talk about. I didn't like to talk long back then, and now like I'll try to talk till I'm blue in the face to gain understanding. And sometimes that pisses me off too because it's like you don't hear me talking to you, you don't hear what I'm saying. Like, listen, you're it's stupid to me. So I don't know. I guess it's just trying to find a common ground sometimes, and it's hard to do when you're dealing with people that you don't really understand, you know?
Yeah, I feel like the hardest thing when you're hurting, the hardest thing is to try to understand a person. But it's the most important thing. And the more that I heal, I learn that at the end of the day, when it comes to a person's behavior, there's always some root cause. Like there's always a rhyme and reason why people do what they do. No matter how messed up it may seem to the next person, we just don't know the root. You know what I'm saying? But as I've healed, I've taken time to listen to those causes. Like, we always talk about how we grew up, and, there's people that went through a lot, and that is why they, hurt people because they have been hurt so much. So it's like when you finally take time out to listen to a person, and the hardest time is in the middle of your hurting. But when you take time to listen, it's like it gives you a deep understanding. And that understanding that you gain of people to me is rewarding. And that's what makes me continue to like always listen, to understand, and take time out to hear a person even in the midst of my own pain. Like that's important. Hi auntie, I see you. Hey, Aunt Alva. Tuning in.
Hey,
Yeah.
girl.
But
So the
that's important.
comments, Lacey says the Aries in me makes me want to go from 0 to 100 real quick,
Oh.
but I've grown and matured, and now it takes a long time to get me there. But when I get there, I'm going to jail, hell, and everywhere in between. Maybe that is the Aries in me. So I'm April 21st, so I'm right on the
I
cusp.
I tell you all the time, that's the fire part in you. You're on the cusp.
Yeah, so I go, so y'all, I'm telling you, like I go to hell a lot. Not a lot like
We're
I
gonna
used
say you
to.
used to, because you
I
don't do
used
that no
to.
more.
Yeah, I
You're so
used
much. Yeah,
to.
she's a retired crash out too, y'all. So she's not still crashing out.
Yeah, but like we've talked about in the past, you guys, like I really feel like a lot of that had to do with not being able to really identify what I was really feeling. And
Yeah,
so even if I was hurting, it would turn into anger and anger would turn into pain. Like it was just a repetitive cycle that just went around and around. And I think that's where those crash out moments came from, was for me not being able to even express how I was feeling because I didn't really know what I was feeling at the time because we weren't really taught those healthy emotions. So
yeah,
we weren't taught
yeah.
how to identify those growing up.
Yeah, I have a question though. I mean, and y'all can answer this in the comments. Y'all know how we do. I do a random questions, but talking about identifying your hurt. So, if you can find the words for this, like what steps did you take to identify, what I'm saying, the feelings that you would feel? Like how did you start learning to identify your pain?
Ooh, so that took a long time. It took a long time. And I mean still right now today I'm still working on that. And
Mm.
honestly, and I know I probably talk about my husband a lot, y'all, but he's really been a huge part of my healing process. Because before me and him got together, I felt like I was super healed. I had been by myself for a really long time. And then I got with this man who was like, he's not like any man I've ever been with. He's super patient with me. And
Mhm.
he can handle my crash out really well. Okay. And it wasn't until like I would be
Yeah.
crashing out and he would just be like, baby, your feelings are valid and I hear what you're saying. And then I would
Yeah.
have to take a step back and really think about like what was I feeling in that very moment that made me act that way, and for me, like after those crash out moments, like sitting down to myself and really thinking like, what was I really feeling? Was I really hurt or was I angry?
Yeah.
And being able to decipher like what was really going on inside of me and taking those times because I didn't want to feel that way anymore. Like I'm tired of feeling that way. Straight
Yeah.
up, like at 37 years old, I'm tired of the adrenaline that comes from those crash out moments. I don't want to
Yeah.
feel that way anymore. It's really unhealthy. It's not good for anybody, for me, him, or anybody around us. And so, being able to stop before I get to that point and identify how am I feeling? Is it anger? Am I sad? Is this sadness turning into anger? Am I overwhelmed? Am I overstimulated? And so I'm just like projecting that onto people because I don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's really taking time to myself before I even get to that point. I'm really good at identifying when I'm already getting to the point of crashing out. Like I can feel it, and I don't want to be around people, and so I get
Yeah.
away, and that's how I know like it's time. It's time for me to take time for myself.
Yeah. That's important. Did anybody
Yeah.
answer that in the comments?
So in the comments, hi Rochelle, how are
I
you?
wrote down.
Ebony did say knowing when to shut down versus someone making you shut up is growth. Girl,
Yes, it is.
it is
It is.
okay because
Yes.
my
Yes.
husband, when we first got together, when he would get mad, he would tell me, shut the and I'm telling you, like that right there would instantly send me into crash out. Like, because you're not gonna make me shut up. Come make me shut up. And there was like that trigger inside of me that would be like, me versus you now, instead of us trying to figure out like what's got us in this crash out mode. We would be banging and now we don't want to talk to each other. We don't have nothing to say to each other. It was very, very, very toxic and unhealthy. And
Yeah.
we would always come together afterwards and talk about like that's not for us, like that's not how we want this relationship to go. We both had those type of relationships in the past and that's not something that we want to show our kids.
Yeah.
That's not something that we want to experience. Like I don't want to waste any time in this marriage and in this relationship like being mad at each other. Like I
Yeah.
just don't. Like the other day we got into a petty argument and he told me F you, and for me like it's been a long time since we've even talked to each other like that, and so I was so offended and it was like anger, but I think it was more like disappointment and hurt. And so for me,
Yeah.
the next day I got up, I didn't speak, like we wasted that whole morning. I didn't kiss him goodbye. I just went to work. And we wasted that whole morning. And when he came and seen me at work, because he was probably tired of us not speaking, whatever,
Yeah.
um, it was kind of like a moment like, you need to say you apologize for that. Like you really need to to apologize because that's not for us, and we agreed that we're not going to do that anymore. You
Yeah.
know, and he just straight up was like, I apologize, and we moved on from that. But I think like we both learned to grow and identify those what we're really feeling in the moment for the most part. But sometimes we do still have crash out moments. They're very small now, but they
Yeah.
happen, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's some real stuff. Okay.
So
You can see my comments too.
I can see all the comments tonight, yes.
Okay. Hey. Hey.
Okay, so Lacey says April 11th. Okay, okay, you almost made it to Taurus, but not quite. We're 10 days apart, baby girl. Ebony says, listen to those around me. People would call me out or point out my flaws. That's something I can't stand. I really can't stand for nobody to
Yeah.
point me flaws out. It automatically puts me on the defense. Feel,
I think
not even gonna lie.
I think for me, when it comes to that aspect, the crazy part, that stuff that does not hurt me at all. And I think that just comes from me being a little girl being talked about everything, having thick glasses, my eye issues, like I was talked about for even breathing too hard. I mean, so for me, a person pointing out my flaws or something about me, I don't care. And this is, I tell them, my kids, this because this is what I believe. If it is the truth and it can be changed, change it so they won't have to point it out. If it is not the truth, and who cares? Period. That's just how I look at it. So a person can tell me what they think
Yeah.
about me every day, all day. But
Yeah, but sometimes those truths be like it be their truth, but you don't feel like it's your truth. And so for me, like I don't want to hear that. Like that's your opinion. That's how you feel about me. Like I don't,
but
sometimes it's hard to see stuff in yourself.
well, yes, but in the same token, like for instance, okay, example. For instance, someone talk about your parenting. Oh, you're a bad mother. That's their opinion, but you know that's not the truth. So I mean, for me, it's like that's something that can't hurt you because you know it's not true. You know you give your all to your child, and you know you do whatever you can every day. You wake up and figure out how to make life better for you and yours. So that's something that a person can use to attack you, but then it shouldn't be able to hurt you, especially if you're doing everything that you can. That's what I mean by that.
Hey Lolo, my daughter just popped on. Hey baby
Hi, Rena.
girl.
I see Rena on here. My auntie said, she said drinking back then, now got off and find a quiet time and some music. Okay, see, that's my auntie for real. We like quiet time and music. She's another earth sign, Capricorn, big cap.
Yeah.
But she resets with music and alone time.
I identify with music really well too. And so when I'm
Mhm.
overwhelmed with life, I'll come into my room and light some sage and turn on my gospel music and turn the lights off. I like to sit in complete darkness and praise and worship. I feel like that really puts me in the right mind frame too, and it'll really just shake me back from whatever I'm going through these days.
Yeah,
And so that's what keeps me from those crash out moments. Now I really like to do a lot of praying. And that I learned that too, like as I got older, like instead of reacting right there in that very moment, like and God knows me,
yeah,
he knows me real well. And so for me, like I'll take a step back and be like, Lord, please, like quiet my mouth because it gets slick, and let
yeah,
just quiet me, quiet my spirit. And a lot of the times I tell myself, peace be still, when I feel myself starting
yeah,
to drift off into negativity or something like that, or I feel like my life is overwhelming, it's peace be still, and it just kind of quiets my spirit. And
yeah,
so that I'm able to come a different way than I would in the past. So
yeah.
let's see.
Uh-uh.
Let's see some more of these comments. Lacey says, my kids helped me change because I didn't want to be that mom that was crashing out, doing crazy things. I want to lead by example, and that's not the example I want to set for them.
Yeah,
Amen, Lacey.
yes, yes, yes.
Um,
That
Ebony
was
says, people around me have helped me be a better person. It's hard doing it all alone.
mhm.
Mama Rolo is not on tonight, so it is Tookie's birthday, and so
Right.
he's off with the family tonight. So it's just me and Shay. Michelle says, honestly, when you are my age, priorities change and things that used to matter don't really matter. The past is the past and cannot be changed, girl. Even at
Yeah,
my age.
that's for real. That's for real. And to refresh for all of you that are just joining in, because I see some people coming in on my Facebook as well. Tonight's conversation is about how hurt people. And we're also talking about how you kind of avoid from hurting other people when you're in the midst of your pain. And that's just summing it up. That's what we're talking about. How do you deal with your pain? How do you, steer clear of other people when you're in the midst of your pain? How did you learn to identify your pain? For those of you that are just jumping in, yeah, comments, answer those questions in the comments. Pick one and answer it.
D did say before I would act before thinking. Now I will question myself on what I should do or don't on a situation because I don't want to be the person I was before I got sober. I just
Yeah.
don't want to go back to that person. I know it's hard because some people want to make you go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a big one too. Well, those are those triggers.
Yeah. So you guys, I think so.
Yeah.
I guess when we were first talking about this topic, hurt people. Like, I really think about like not even being hurt as an adult. I go back to my childhood, and not just my childhood, but the like my brother, for instance, like he's one I could use an example. Like he's still so hurt from being a child that he's hurt a lot of people throughout life, and I would say like me too. And I
Yeah.
think about like the hurt from a child. Do you guys feel like that really molds your relationships and how you carry that hurt around, and how you treat other people in your lives as an adult? And for me,
That's
like
a good one.
that's
That's a good
that's
one.
what I was thinking about. Like when we were talking about hurt people, like some of the relationships that I was in, like I look back at them now, like my first husband, he was just a nutcase, okay?
Yeah.
And honestly, like I feel like he was just really hurt based off of like some of the stuff that he had been through as a child, and then into his adulthood. But I didn't understand it then, like he would drink all the time,
Yeah.
and I feel like it was to numb how he was feeling, and then it would project and it would be anger. And it's not just him, like there's been several people around me and in my life like that are drug addicts or alcoholics, or you know what I mean, like just straight up crash out still at this very
Yeah.
old age that we're not very old, but we're getting
Right.
there. But at our age that are still just crash outs, and it's like, at what point do you really take a step back and really think about like how long are you going to carry that hurt around from being a child, and how long
Yeah.
are you going to allow that to shape and mold the relationships in your life, and how long are you going to continue to push all the good people that you have around you away because you're hurt. I feel like the hurt people topic is super, super deep, and it's way
Yeah.
deeper than just being an adult and hurting people because you're hurting. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like it's harder to face that hurt as a child than as an adult. I mean, to heal that inner child because we carry it around so long. Because there's still things about me that I went through in my childhood that I still carry into my adulthood. Like just we've talked about this before, but the trust thing is huge with me. Because I felt like growing up I couldn't trust people. And I feel like that hurt from always being let down or being abandoned and not paid attention to, I feel like I carried that into my adulthood. And but see, for me, that is why I am so trustworthy, because I don't want to hurt another person like I've been hurt to the core. Like I don't lie to people. I'm very transparent. You know what I'm saying? If you ask, I'm going to tell. That's why I'm that way, because of the hurt that I encountered at, during childhood. And I wish that everyone could, look at certain things like that, like the hurt that you experience. Just try not to cause that same hurt. But I know it's hard. It can be really hard because I didn't always think like this.
Melanie says, I think my childhood hurt and trauma made me more empathetic. I could have
Yeah,
turned to drugs and alcohol, but I really realized that was not the life I wanted. Instead, I let people walk all over me. It took me years and years to find the strength to stand up for myself. Mm.
yeah,
You
that's
know, what I
that's
will say in response to that, Melanie, is for those of you guys who don't know, like I come from the streets, and I come from the other side of being an addict. So I was selling drugs for a really long time in life, and I was out in the streets and just kind of doing whatever I wanted to do for a really long time. And then I went through, I like to call it my breaking point in life. And
Mhm.
I got strung out on drugs for a while, and it took me trying at one time. You know, I just had a miscarriage. I wanted a baby so bad. I went through a lot of stuff at a younger age that made it so it was really hard for me to have kids, which is why we're doing the IVF now. And when I lost my baby in 2015, like I had the ultimate crash out, like literally the ultimate crash out. And I didn't crash out on anybody. I crashed out on myself. And like I
Yeah,
kind of gave up a little bit and I started getting high. And honestly, like that was never the life I seen for myself either. If you could have
yeah,
never, my little sister tells me still to this day, when I heard you were getting high, like I kept telling you're lying. Like did nobody believe it because of who I was and where I come from, you know? But like I said, it was like the ultimate crash out. And I feel like that was the turning point in my life when I was just like, I'm tired, you know. And so I don't think that there's a lot of people out here that just have intentions on being a drug addict, or they wake up and they're like, oh, I'm gonna be a drug addict. Say, like, I really believe
yeah,
that a lot of drug addicts come from life beating people up so much that they
yeah,
just don't want to feel it anymore, and so they find
yeah,
something that numbs them and takes them away from that pain. And some people just never come back from it, and that's the sad part. Like, some people don't know how, you know, like Tanisha. I remember one of the conversations that we had right before she got sick. You know, she called me and she was telling me like she wanted to change, but she just didn't know how. You know, she had been drinking for so long, like she just didn't know how to take the steps that she needed to be able to change her life, you know. And see, she was 36 when she passed away from drinking. So and not even understanding what it was really doing to herself, or even caring what it was doing to herself, because she was so numb to
yeah,
any and everything, and even the emotions. And you know, I go back and I watched a lot of the videos, and you know, here recently I've been watching a lot of the videos of when we were there taking care of her, and how many times she apologized, even when, you know, I don't think she really knew what was going on. I'm sorry, y'all.
yeah. Take your time.
Um, Even when she didn't really know what was going on, she I think that it was starting to dawn on her that she was really dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so she spent a lot of time like telling us how much she appreciated us, and how sorry she was. But I ultimately think like life just got the best of her, and that happens to a lot of people. And a lot of people don't understand that
yeah.
drug addicts, they just, and alcoholics and stuff like that, they don't
They're
want to
hurting.
be.
They're hurting,
Yeah, they
and
don't want to be. You know, they're
yeah,
they're hurting, and to keep from hurting other people, they tend to isolate themselves.
or
You
hurt
know.
themselves even more.
Yep. Yep. And well, I feel like even when I was getting high, you guys, it was easier for me to stay away from my family.
Yeah,
So anytime they would say anything to me, I would use that as an excuse to continue to do it. Like, well, I'm just going to go do it right now. You know, like you got all this stuff to say, because nobody really ever stopped to ask me, like, what pushed you to that point,
yeah,
you know? And so I don't think that any of us really took the time to ask Tanisha what got her to that point.
yeah,
I think that we all just assumed that we knew, because we all lost the same people, not understanding that not everybody's cut from the same cloth, you know, not everybody's built like we are.
yeah,
And I think that a lot of the times that gets overlooked, you know, and instead of us really taking the time to talk to our people, we just kind of chin up, chest out, you know, like get over it. You
yeah,
know, we all got to get up and we all got to move on, and not even understanding like, I think that I don't know, y'all. Yeah.
pain is uncomfortable. Seeing someone hurting and seeing someone in pain is like super uncomfortable. I can admit that even for myself. For a long time, dealing with that emotion myself and watching other people deal with, you know, certain levels of pain. And I'm not talking about physical pain, but that internal pain. That's hard to witness and it's hard to go through, you know. So I wish more people, you know, I wish more people would stop and take time. to, want to explore a person's pain versus just judging them. I'm guilty of that in the past too, because I had such a, I'm gonna say, rough upbringing. Like, just growing up with boys, I had to be chin up, chest out. I didn't have time to stop and cry. I didn't have time to stop and feel. I had to go. So what that did for me for a long time is I became a butthole to people. Like, I was
Yeah.
a straight asshole. Like, hey, I don't, so what, you lost somebody, get up and go, you still got to live, you know what I'm saying? Even when I went through my own losses and my own addiction, I still looked at other people like, well, I conquered it, so why can't you? And like Ashley said, everybody's not cut from that same cloth. And losing people also taught me that, because, like, I've seen people just off themselves. We've noticed, like, just because of how much hurt they're in. So it's like, now for me, I want to stop and ask you questions, and I want to talk to you, because I feel like a lot of us are guilty of that. And just because a person is not hurting someone else on the outside does not mean that, they still handling it okay. Because like we just talked about, hurting yourself is just as worse as hurting someone else. And nowadays I feel like people are hurting themselves. Yes, you still got crash outs that go out and, tear up other people's stuff, but you still see more of people, the addiction, the, what I'm saying, of all sorts. Because, I know promiscuous people, I know people who are addicted to food. That's still a form of hurting yourself. So
Yeah.
it's like, those be those moments that you really got to stop and think, like, what am I doing? What is this doing to me? Like, and
Yeah.
you really got to dissect how you feel. Another person can help you, but you still got to do the work to get out of that pain yourself, and that's
Yeah.
important.
And you
But
know
I
what's
went,
crazy though, Shay, and this is not just about Tanisha. This is about like overall my family. I've seen it so much in my family, and even with myself. Like, when you're really hurt, like I don't even think that you realize how bad you hurt other people
yeah,
with your actions and the things that you do. Like when I was getting high, I didn't think about how I was hurting my family. I just knew that I was hurt.
yeah,
And then I didn't know how bad it was hurting them, pushing them away. Like I said with Tanisha, like she spent so much time apologizing, and it's because I don't think that she really knew how bad it was going to hurt us to have to go through that with her.
yeah,
And so she just lived her life a certain way for so long, and I feel like she did cry out to us. She
yeah,
did a lot. Like, you couldn't get on the phone with her and she wouldn't be going through something or trying to process it in some type of way. And I think that we all got to the point as a family and as a unit where we were just tired of hearing it. And that's as blunt as I can be.
yeah,
And that's just as real as I can be, because I'm not going to get on here and fake or try to pretend like it was anything other than that. Like, and because we couldn't fix it for her. And so it was frustrating because like I said, like me, my little sister, my brother, like when I won't say my brother because he's still a crash out, but like a lot of our family members, we were built like you just got to keep pushing, like
yeah,
even right now, like with the pain that I feel from her, like you just get up and go. You can't lay down because if you lay down, you're going to get up and you're going to have 100 more problems than you had when you lay down. And so I find myself like talking to my family, like you got to get up and go, not understand that not everybody's built that way. Still, I
yeah,
still have an issue with understanding why people are not built that way, even after going through that situation. And so for me now, like I'd be trying to understand and process it from a different point of view. Like, maybe they're just not built that way. And I don't know, like I said, sometimes that's still just so hard for me to understand because I don't understand how people aren't.
yeah.
And I
I
feel like
think
that has a
that is
lot to
not
do with.
for us to understand. That's not for us to understand, because as we both know, each person has their own journey when it comes to what they're supposed to do in life. And that's one thing I'm realizing, like, because I feel like I got hero syndrome. When I see a person that's hurting, what's in me is to help you. Like, I want to save you. I don't want you to hurt no more. And
Yeah.
I've had to really stop with that, because helping the wrong person sometimes is you hurting yourself, because some people don't want to be healed from the hurt. Some people actually want to sit in it. And it's hard to decipher, between the people who do and the people that don't. So, and for the longest, I would just jump in and I would just help anybody who I felt like needed me. But now I had to realize in my healing, like, hey, they have their own journey. And
Yep.
how you can help them the best is by standing in the gap for them spiritually,
Yep.
praying for them, meditating for them, like, just doing things like that, because so, like, you got to protect yourself also on top of, doing what's right. So for
Yeah.
me, that's what I had to realize. Like, everybody has their own journey, and who am I to get in the way of your lessons of what
And
you need to learn?
it's crazy, Shay, that you say that, because it always takes me back when I hear stuff like that to the situation with my brother. Me and my brother are 13 months apart. We're super close. We grew up super close, like twins. He got held back a grade, so we were always in the same class. Like, everybody thought we were twins growing up. And, he went through, when he first started going through his addiction, I found myself like always trying to intervene and like trying to figure out, because I went through that. And I
Yeah.
knew, and I know that you can go through addiction and you can recover, because look at me, we do
Yeah.
recover. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, people do come out of that. And so for me, like, looking at him, like, I just wanted him to understand what this side of life was like. And so I would always try to intervene. I would get down and fast and pray and lock myself in a dark room and just cry and cry and cry for my brother all the time. And I'll never forget, I was crying and I was in my dark room. I was fasting, I was praying, and the voice asked me, "Who are you? Like,
Mhm.
who am I?" You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
think that I can change the course of somebody else's path in life.
Yeah.
God's ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts. And so for me, that was the turning point for me, that, you know what, you're right. And
Yeah.
I opened up my Bible and I started reading Job. And plain as day, it stuck out to me, like, who are you? Were you there? When I created the heavens and the earth, like, it's not for me to save him.
Yeah.
It's not for me. And that it was at that moment that I realized, like, that's not my job. you
Yeah.
know that's not my job. It's not my job to try to save everybody around me, because that was the way I looked at it too, because I had been through so much hurt and anger and pain that I felt like I could just save anybody. I could give them the same thing that I have, the redemption that I got from God. And that's not between me and them. That's between them and God. That's their
Yeah.
path in life. And now I understand that people have to go through things like that. You have to
Yeah.
walk through that path. You have to be the person that he needs you to be. And it might not make sense right now, but I'm telling you, like, eventually it's all going to make sense, because everything you go through is for the greater good and it's for God's
Yeah.
glory. I don't care what nobody says. I can say that because I've lived it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. And it's not just in my life. I've seen it in other people's life. Like, you just really don't understand. This child grows up in this crazy household with these crazy parents, and goes through all these crazy things up into their teenage years and adult years. And it's like, man, why do they got to
Yeah.
go through all that? Because it's making them the person they have to be. It's building the strength up for the battle that they're going to have to fight. And it
Yeah.
might seem crazy and like, why do we got to go through that? But hey, it's all a part of it. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I don't regret no hurt that I've experienced. Like, and some of it's been deep. But I look at the woman that I am today, and that's what keeps me from being angry at anyone. That's what keeps me from blaming anyone, because I'm not a victim at all. Everything that I've experienced has shaped me into who I am today. So I'm not mad. Like, and I appreciate it actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm scarred up, but I'm still here. I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior. So with that being said, it's like, you know what? Like Ashley just explained, like, I see the purpose in my life. So now when it comes to other people, it's like, I'm like, especially the ones that go through a lot. For me, I look at it like, oh, you got a hell of a story coming. You got a major
Yeah.
story coming.
Yep. They're going to
Now
be
that's how I
powerful.
look at it. Like,
That's
if
how
you
I look at
fight
it
through this
too.
hurt, yeah, if you fight through this hurt, you got a major story coming, and it's
Yeah.
gonna change lives. And so that's the perspective I have now.
Yeah, me too. Hey, I do too, Shay. When I see people going through it, like, it makes me praise God, because I know, like, when they come up out of that, and I tell my mom this all the time, because my mom used to cry so hard on the phone to me about my brother. And I used to tell her, Mama, when he finally comes up out of this, look at all the stuff my brother's been through.
Yeah.
Real
Yeah.
talk. Hey, look at all the craziness that he's been in, all the times that he's lived, all the times he should have been gone, and he's still here.
Yeah.
God has something amazing for him on the other
Yeah.
side. But he's got to walk through them steps first. He's got to complete his mission. He has to get through it in order to get to where he needs to be, so that when he finally does get there, the same way he went hard out here in these streets, he's gonna go hard. He's
Yeah.
going to go hard, and he's going to bring a lot of people with him because, like I tell my mom all the time, my brother is powerful no matter which way he goes. Okay.
Yeah.
And so when he's powerful for the other side, he's bringing a lot of people with him. So when he's out in the streets doing wrong and doing this and doing that, he's always had so many people following him and looking up to him, even people he didn't know. So he was
Yeah.
dragging a lot of people down with him. Now, when he finally turns that into God and into the right way, he's going to lead so many people in the right direction. And for me, like he has to get through what he has to go through to get there. He's not ready yet.
Yeah. He's still being prepared. Let
Yep,
him
and it's
cook.
not up to us.
Let him cook.
Yeah, let him cook. Because listen, he's not ready yet. But when
Yeah.
he is ready, I'm telling you, I know. And you guys go back and watch this whenever. Hey, when he comes out with his testimony, we're gonna go back and run this back because I'm telling
Yeah.
you, he's gonna be powerful. He's gonna
Yeah.
be powerful. He's gonna be powerful for God, and he's gonna bring a lot of people to the right side. Mark my
Yeah.
words. I know because he's been through too much.
Yeah. And with this being said, it's being put on my spirit to say this to anybody that needs this message. I'm gonna just go ahead and spit it out there. If I can tell you anything, go through that hurt, go through those feelings, because what's on the other side of that is gonna be something so great and so worth it. It's gonna be scary. It's gonna hurt a little more because you got to get to it gets a little worse before it gets better,
Yeah,
but it's worth it. I promise you it's worth it. I can't even begin to tell you all the things that I've went through because we don't have enough time on this podcast tonight. And not to mention I'm writing a book, but I will say that it is worth it. And I can bet my life on that.
it
So if
is.
I can tell y'all anything, go through that hurt.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah.
Hey, I can definitely tell you, Shauna, what you said is definitely facts because, like I said, the hurt, the pain, the trials, the
Mhm.
tribulations, they turn into a testimony. And for
Yeah.
me, like, I was in church not too long ago. I went to church in Hutch. I went with Tanisha. I was down there when she got out the hospital and I took her to church. And, the Pastor Crumble, he went to go hand me the microphone to give my testimony. And I told him, I don't want it. And I didn't think in the moment, like, my mouth wouldn't open. I'm good at talking, like,
Yeah.
but my mouth wouldn't open to say anything. Like, I just straight up, I didn't want it. And then I had to go to him and tell him, like, these people know who I am. They know
Yeah.
who I was. They see where I'm at today. My life is a testimony. I don't have to get on here and tell people what I've been through or where I am today because the people who know me know only God makes moves like that. I don't
Yep.
care what nobody says. Like, only God turns people like me into people like where I am today. Like,
Yeah.
that is not by chance or luck or anything like that. That's by grace.
Yeah.
It's only by grace that I am where I am today, and it's only because of God. So I don't take any credit for that. So I don't feel like I need to get on a microphone at church and tell everybody what he's done for me when you can clearly see like what he's done for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. That's some real stuff though. Real talk. Real talk.
Yeah.
We got
I'm
any
gonna
more
go to
comments?
these comments a little bit because I know we got some going on here. Melanie says, I think childhood hurt and trauma made me more okay. We read that one.
Okay.
Um, Deshaun says one thing that taught me was it's not the drugs or alcohol. The real battle is your mind.
Yeah,
It
that's
is.
real. That's
That's where
real.
it always starts at.
Yep.
It always starts in your mind before it always starts in your mind and then it turns into words and your words start to manifest what's really going on in your life. But it all starts here.
Yep.
My husband
That's
tells me that
real.
all the time because I'm an overthinker.
Yeah.
And
I'm
so,
guilty of that too.
yeah, he's been working with me on that here lately. Melanie says, I'm so glad you found your way back. Ashley, I too many people who have not or cannot. Well, it's only because of God for sure.
Yeah.
Um, she says, unfortunately, with an addict, it is on them to do the work. You can give them the tools and encouragement, but they have to want to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then
That's
Aunt
true.
Leslie, hey Auntie Leslie.
Hey, Leslie.
She says, Ashley, I told you the same thing about you. You are my testimony to people, real talk. And then over on the Heightened and Enlightened page, we have D. She says, I went through the same thing. I was in an abusive relationship and did drugs in order for me to numb the pain, was to get high. I was getting beat up. My ex while being in a wheelchair. A lot of times I was crying out for help, but my family didn't want to help. But my family didn't want to hear because I was on drugs and I kept taking him back. It was hard. It was hard because being on drugs for the numbness. I can identify with that. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
girl, I understand what it's like to
yeah,
finally find an escape from the world. Like you don't have to feel it anymore. And that's the scary thing about drugs that a lot of people don't talk about. Like,
yeah,
a lot of people aren't even addicted to the drug. They're addicted to the numbness and the not feeling
yeah,
anymore. And once you find that one, that sweet spot that makes it so, and another thing is it's a trick of the mind. Like being addicted to
yeah.
drugs, it really makes you feel like you're a better version of yourself.
It does. I was getting ready to say that.
It does. It makes you feel like
Yeah,
you're a better version of yourself. And that's the scariest part about being
yeah,
addicted to drugs. Like you're so numb to the world. Like you really feel like I'm not feeling that, so I'm a better version of myself because I know how to process better now. And that's the lie. That's a trick of
yeah,
the enemy. And for real,
yeah,
that's what keeps people stuck in that mess for so long. And it makes it so hard. But I'm telling you, I know too many people that I was out in these streets getting high with that's doing good today. They have kids, they're married, they're doing their thing. Like salute to you if you guys are on here. I see you.
right.
Um, like we do recover. Addicts can recover, and it is up to them to work those steps. But for me, like the crazy part about mine was there was no steps. Like
Yeah.
literally one day I woke up tired and that was it. That was the end of it. Like, I don't know, I can't explain it.
Well, Ashley, I'm like you when it came to that, and I'm gonna just say I think it's also a tourist mind, a tourist mentality, because those of y'all that don't know me, yes, I also struggle with addiction. I struggled with that myself for a while, and for me, I went through the isolation period too. I feel like a lot of people didn't even know I was as bad as I was because of how I moved and groove in life. And I feel like that was me. Like I felt like I was a better version. I still made people laugh. I still showed up for people. So I feel like people didn't even realize how bad I was. And for me, I started catching myself because after a while, for me, I just like Ashley, I woke up one day and was like, man, I'm tired of doing this. Like I would wake up to a pack, go to bed to a pack. Like I was doing this all day, and not to mention I had to still be there for my kids. So I would be up all day being a mom, up all night getting money. So that became so unhealthy. One day I just woke up and was like, I'm sick of this. Like I'm tired. I was crying. I was depressed. And it took that one person, Big Damien, spoke to me and was just like, look at you. Look at you. Like you're not looking good. Yeah, I know you're not feeling good. Like, look at you. And it was at one time I looked in the mirror and was like, you know what? I got to change. I'm tired of feeling hurt. And that's my thing. I don't do good with being hurt at all. That's why I fight it so good, because I don't like feeling down. I struggle with depression and anxiety already. So I don't like feeling negative. So I do whatever I can to fight back. And that was my thing. Like I got tired of sitting in that hurt because like we just spoke about, it was the numbing that made me feel good. Like, you know what, I ain't got to deal with this today. And after so long of not doing that, even that gets tiring of not dealing with the issue. And yeah, I was like, you know what, I'm about to just face it. And I started facing everything. And yes, it hurt. But like I said a little bit ago, it's rewarding now because I look at where I'm at and I can say, you know what, you did that. It makes me feel stronger to know that I fought through that and I changed that versus the strength that I felt when I was numbing everything. Because I felt strong too. I felt like a superwoman, like I was on it, but it's a different type of strength. You know what I'm saying? And this is more rewarding. I feel more clear headed. I feel more alive. Like I'm truly getting to live life on the other side of pain. And it feels good.
And what's crazy is thinking back to like before I was addicted to hardcore drugs, like I was still drinking all the time. I was still, doing drugs that we weren't hardcore to us
Yeah.
because it was like the party. That's what everybody was doing. So it's not a
Yeah.
bad thing because everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
It didn't really turn bad until it was something that we were told our whole life, you should never try that. You should never do that.
Yeah.
But I think about like all the years from like losing my aunt and losing my grandma. My aunt was really my turning point in life. That was the biggest loss of my life, honestly, was my aunt. And for me, like that was the real turning point of my life to where I was like, okay, all right. And I went the wrong way instead of going the right way in that situation. And I was drinking every day. I was doing all kind of different stuff, like, but no hardcore, just the normal stuff, smoking every day. And when I finally got clean after I fell into my addiction that I was really addicted for like a year and a half to the hardcore stuff. Um, I got sober, and everything from that point on, when my life took that turn up until that day, hit me like a ton of bricks. My aunt had been gone for 11 years. Okay. And when I tell you, on her 11th anniversary, I grieved her for the first time. Like it was the first day, because I hadn't felt it. I had been so numb to life and not even realizing that I was numb because I was doing the regular stuff. I was just drinking and stuff, you know. But you need to understand, like, right now, if you're an alcoholic or if you're out here like smoking every day, even the stuff that's legal, you're still numbing yourself, and eventually when you stop doing that, you're still going to have to feel what you're running from.
Yeah.
You're still going to have to face every piece of it, every part of it, and trying to minimize it because it's legal or you can just run to the store and grab it real quick. Like,
Yeah.
either way, if it alters your mind, you're still addicted, you're still an addict, you know what I mean? And so really just looking at some of the people around me who are just alcoholics and stuff like that and don't even realize they're alcoholics because they just be drinking, or it's just drinking.
Yeah.
I'm just having a drink. I'm not really, but you're altering your mind. You know what I mean? You're not really processing what you're going through because you're not even feeling correctly. And
Yeah.
so, like, I think, like, at this age that we're at right now and everybody on here on this healing journey that we're going on together, like, it's time for us to really take a step back and start evaluating, like, are you really in a state of mind
Yeah.
that you'd like to be in? Or, if your kids were doing what you're doing right now, would you be proud of them? That's how I
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
honestly, like, my son, I would never, ever, ever want him smoking, drinking every day, And so I try to lead by example and show him, like, that's not the way to go. Hey,
Hey,
Ani.
I was just about to say, hey, Amy's. And what she say?
She says,
I
hey, Amy,
experienced
I
that.
experienced.
No, she said I experienced that. How do I deal with that? Which part, Amy's?
Which part, baby girl? Which part do
Oh,
you experience?
ooh, I think I know what she's talking about. Um,
I just want to make sure that we're clear on what she's talking about so we give her the correct answer, because we don't want to be answering questions, baby girl, and we're
yeah,
not answering the right question or trying to.
cause
Oh,
Yanti think I know what you're talking about, but I'm
yeah,
gonna give
she
you a
answered.
chance. Yes, I know, baby. You know what? I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let this go, and I'm gonna call you later. Just love her through it right now. Right now, love her through it.
And not only that, but baby girl, be better than her. I don't
Yes,
care what nobody says. I don't care how great of a parent I think I am. Like, I always want my son to be better than me.
yeah,
Like, take all the things that you see that you don't want to be like, baby girl, and make something of yourself. Like, that if you look at her in a certain type of way because of that, then that's something you never want to do, you
right.
know? And so for me, just use that as ammunition to do better in life.
Yeah, and that's one thing I talk to my kids about too. Like, I made a lot of decisions in life based on my hurt that I was going through. Some decisions were good, a lot of them weren't. Um, but I will say I'm thankful for the lessons, and I always tell people, like, I didn't grow up. What's the saying, Ashley? I didn't grow up having role models. I grew up seeing a bunch of people that I didn't want to be like, and that's what I took from it. Like, you
Yep.
know what? I just, yeah,
Yep. It's just so hard because she has mood swings and makes me feel upset. She makes me feel like I need to be an adult to help her somehow. So honestly, baby girl, just being completely honest, I grew up with a mom who liked to drink a lot when we were young, and we grew up in the party era. And so
yeah,
I know what you're going through and I know how that feels. And you're more than welcome to call me anytime you want. And we can talk about that, baby girl, because I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like. And so what I would tell you, the best advice I can give you is to use your village, which is us, of course. We're always
no,
here for
yeah,
you. And when you need to talk or if you need some coping mechanisms, you're more than welcome to call me anytime or call your Auntie Shalonda, and we'll jump on a call together, all three of us, and
yeah,
we can talk about that, okay? We're always here for you, no matter what.
yeah, yeah. And he's in that situation, that the biggest thing, how we discussed earlier before you jump on, sometimes watching someone hurt, themselves, that you love, it hurts you. But the biggest thing and most important thing that you can do is pray. you
Yeah.
know just pray, stand in the gap spiritually. I've taught you a lot about meditation and how to keep yourself centered, because the more that you're centered, the better your thoughts will process as you know do what you need to do to stay on your square. So keeping yourself centered and keeping yourself focused on the bigger goal and what's important, that's very important right now. That's super important.
Yeah,
um
and me and Ani talked last time she was here, and like I was telling her
yeah.
when I seen her, like, um, the age that she's at right now, like learning how to study and how to pray and how to
Yeah,
talk to
that's
God when she's
important.
feeling that type of way, and understanding, baby girl, that your mom probably doesn't mean to be that way.
Yeah,
Like we were just talking about before you got on here, a lot of people who drink all the time, or who are addicted to drugs or even smoking weed and stuff like that, like it's a numbing, it's to numb
yeah,
up from pain that they're feeling. And so I promise, baby girl, she's probably not meaning to hurt you. She probably doesn't even realize that it does, but she's probably just been doing it for so long that that's the only thing she knows. It's a comfort for
yeah,
her. It
yeah.
helps numb her from the pain that she's had to feel in her life. And so giving her grace, because ultimately,
That's
when we
important.
go through, and you'll learn as you go into your adulthood, baby girl, like you'll go through things and do things in life where you'll want God's grace. And so just remembering to give other people that same grace that you want in return, and to understand that she's probably going through something or been through something that makes her not want to feel.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That is very important.
yeah. Michelle says, all three of you are amazing people. We are truly blessed with this podcast. We're truly blessed
Oh,
for you
thank
guys to
you.
be
We're
able to
blessed.
get on here.
Thank you. Right.
Yeah.
You guys make it, like, y'all make this work. We had a vision that we sat down together and we discussed it. But when it comes to like really making this thing work, and y'all are a huge part of that. Like, this is truly a village. We are a family. We done bonded, y'all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, yeah, this wouldn't work without y'all. Like, we appreciate y'all more than you know. Like, I feel like words can't even express the love and joy that my heart gets every time we get on here and people interact. Like, I really love y'all.
Yeah, I do too. Like, you guys don't even understand. Like, I'm telling you, this started from a conversation. Like, it was through the stuff, me being down there, taking care of Tanisha. Shalonda came down, and we ended up going to go see Rolo, and we had this long, drawn out, like,
Yeah,
healing conversation. Like, and it just sparked something inside of us that was like, we need to reach out to somebody else, and see how many people we can reach out to. And that's genuinely what this is about. Like, just making sure that
yeah,
we can get on here and be transparent. Like, you guys know I'm an open book. Like, I'm gonna get on here and I'm gonna be me. And you guys have probably seen me cry a few times. Life has been lifing lately, okay, for me. But I don't want to get on here and pretend like it hasn't been
right.
lifing. Because
And
I feel like we
huh?
go ahead. Go ahead, Shay.
No, I was about to say, I'll admit, I'm not the open book Ashley is, but I do have a policy: you ask and you shall receive. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm like an onion, to be for real. Like, I am layer by layer because there's so many layers to me, and there's so much, and there's things that I'm still currently, healing from. Like, we all, are work in progress. So for me, I feel like this helps me open up more, because I know my purpose is big. So yeah, I'm not an open book, but I do have ask and you shall receive policy. So anything that you guys all want to ask me about, anything that you're curious about, yeah, shoot for it. I got you.
I have a question, Shay, and this just kind of
Right.
popped up based off of what Ani's saying right now. And I know
Mhm.
I've been guilty of it because when I went through my addiction, Trace, I was young, and he was my reason to keep getting up and going every day, even through my addiction. Like, I would wake up and he would be right there. Hey, Andrea. I would wake up and he would be right there, and that was my motivation to get up and go, even if I was high. And so for me, I guess, like, looking at you from the mother you were when we first met to who you are today, like, and watching your healing progress and how much you've grown, like, how do you feel like your hurt um molded the type of mother you were, or molded the children that you have now?
Mm. Uh, to sum it up, I feel like the hurt that I experienced, how it molded me parenting wise, I feel like I never want I never want them to like to hurt how I've hurt. Like I don't ever want them to experience the feelings that I felt. Now, granted, they're kids, so they're gonna have other feelings. You know, we don't always get along, but I never want them to feel the things that I felt, like just not knowing who I am, being lied to. Um, I never wanted them to not trust me. So for me, it made me go a little above and beyond, no matter what I went through, like no matter what addiction I was facing. Because I will tell y'all, yeah, I was on some hardcore stuff, you know. But for me, it was always, no matter what, I'm always going to be there for them. Because one thing I want them to always know and to always remember, that no matter what stage I was going through in life, I still put them, they were hot, they were number one, you know. Even when I was addicted, like I was, you know, I would do my drugs and everything, but I feel like, you know, everybody has their different perception of this, but I feel like when I was going through that, what kept me stable was I never did nothing around them, in front of them. Like most of the time they just knew mom was fun and mom was wired, because I did uppers back then. So I'm just you know, so 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 I feel like so I feel like that was how I kept it together for them. Like I made sure that they didn't know, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that, just the hurt that I went through, I just made sure that they didn't feel that same kind of hurt. And even still to this day, like if I am wrong, because there's situations to where I'm still wrong, you know, there's no rule book to parenting. So even if I do hurt their feelings or something, it's not intentional, and I'm conscious enough to apologize and to correct it. So that is how I feel like the hurt that I went through, how it manifested into my parenting and my adulthood with, you know, in adulthood with my kids. Because yeah, I don't ever want them feeling how I felt. And I will say this, now that I'm grown, I know my parents love me. I know they do. But I will admit, growing up, I didn't feel it. Um, because of everything they had going on with themselves. I didn't feel it at all. And then with my older brother getting locked up and me being the oldest, like for a long time, I felt like I'm only here to just help out and cook and clean, you know, like I did feel like that. So, you know, I had to even get out of that mindset to even realize like they did love me. They just love me different. They love me to the best that they could at the time.
The way they knew
So,
how.
yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I had to get out of my hurt to even see that. But with that being said, I just try my hardest to make sure that I never hurt my kids deep enough to where they feel like, dang, mom just don't care about me. I'm not first in her life. You know, like I never want them to feel that.
Do you feel like us overcompensating for the hurt that we went through as children hinders our kids, or have
In
hindered our
certain
kids?
in certain situations, I would say yeah.
I do
Um,
too.
because of my personal experience, because I feel like from me not feeling loved, I went over I loved them too hard. Like I was too overprotective. I
Yeah.
loved them too much. I was in their business too much. And now that three of them are older, you know, like I went through some stuff with my kids, and you know, like Ashley, you know, but those of you guys that don't know, I'm gonna be transparent. I've struggled with two of my kids. Like we went through my oldest child, she went through a phase to where I was too much on her and she ran away and went through a lot of stuff, and I had to just pray on that and let that be. I went through another situation recently with my son. He ran away. I was too much on him. And still to this day, I'm still learning that. Like, you know, they know I love them, but that love, I feel like for me not feeling loved as a child, I overcompensated with them. It's like, I'm gonna love you to death. Like, I'm gonna love
Yeah.
you so much, you
Yeah.
know. You know, you're my
Yeah.
everything, you're my world, and you can't do that either. So I'm still learning how to balance when it comes to how I am with them. Like, I can
Yeah.
love them, but I still have to allow them to fulfill their purpose, because like I said earlier, you know, I'm learning that we all have our own journeys, even with our children. Like they're not ours to keep. They're ours to, you know, for a time being.
Yeah.
We're just only supposed to guide them to the next phase. So I have to learn that too.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think that I think with Trey Side being my only child, like I feel like I probably sheltered him really bad from a lot of different things in life, and I think I can start to see it now. Like he's a great kid.
Yeah.
I think now like his ability to like go out and make friends and like stuff like that, like he just doesn't have a desire to. Like, you know, he's completely content alone. And for me, like, you know, I want him to come to me and be like, "Hey mom, can I go to the skating ring?" Or "Hey mom, can I go here?" And he doesn't do any of that. And I'm like, "Hey son, you know, you don't have friends that you want to go out with, or you don't
Yeah.
have anywhere that you want to go." And he's like, "No." I'm like, "All right, okay,
Yeah.
well, maybe you should try to make some." And he's like, "No." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay, well, all right, you know." And then like us moving out here to Texas, you know, from Garden City, I asked him like, you know, how do you feel about it? And he's like, well, you know, I'm just ready to go. And I'm like, okay, so do you have any friends that you're worried about leaving? Or and he was like, Mom, anybody that I talk to, I can talk to him on the phone. Like I feel like sometimes he's so disconnected from
Yeah.
the human aspect of life, like and having
Society.
fun. Yeah, that because I kept him from society because
Yeah.
I know how hard society can be. You know, like he went to a private school, like he went, you know what I mean? Like I overcompensated. I tried my hardest to give him the life that we didn't have. And I feel like, you know, he's very codependent on me,
Yeah.
and very disconnected from the rest of the world. And sometimes that worries me a little bit, especially because he's getting ready to go into his teenage years. And you know, I want him to go to prom. I want him to do all these great things, you know. And so I'm hoping that, you know, eventually he comes out of the phase that he's in right now, where he feels like he just doesn't need anybody around him except for his mom and his dad. And you know, his
Yeah.
granny, and then, which is not a bad thing, you know, it's family. He knows the value of family because I've always taught him that, because I'm huge on family.
Yeah.
uh, so he knows like the value of having your family around you, but he doesn't really know the value of having a real friend, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like, and that comes, a lot of that came from the hurt that I went through growing up and seeing like, you know, not feeling loved, not feeling appreciated, not feeling like I really had parents that I could depend on growing up, and making sure that he knows that he can always depend on me no matter what, you know. And like
Yeah.
I said, I'm starting to see it now. And I think Lloyd has really taught me too, because he raised his kids totally different. Like
Yeah.
our other kids, they are very outspoken. They do not have a hard time mixing and meshing. Like they will get out here. They're, you know, they're outgoing, you
Yeah.
know. And now I will say a couple of them, they don't fool with folks neither. Okay. You ain't they people, they don't fool with you. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, like I believe that if you put them out there in the world, they'll be okay, you know. But I just feel, I don't know, y'all.
I feel
It's
like I
hard.
got two for two. I got two kids that are social butterflies that'll get out there and just flourish. And then I have two kids that are like, not
Yep.
so much.
Yep. So our oldest L'Oreal, like, hey, if she get a little bit of drink in her, hey, she's out there, you know, like, hey,
Yeah.
she's the life of the party. But other than that, she's really closed off.
Yeah.
Sandre, he's really closed off. Pravion, he's a social butterfly. Okay. Nyla,
Yeah.
she's a social butterfly. Them are the two that they gonna get out there and they gonna talk to the whole world. They're gonna make friends. They're gonna be, when Travion moved to Kansas, he had them kids following him around in high school, like Memphis, 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 hey Memphis. Like he was that guy, you know, and he really
Yeah.
felt like he was that guy. But he's like that everywhere he goes, because he just has that personality where when he walks into a room, like he just lights up the room. That's just his personality. And then, like I said, we got L'Oreal, Sandre, and Trey Saya, who they don't really care to even really be around folks like that. Like, and I don't know. It's just, I
I feel
don't
like
think there's a,
today's world, that's okay because, yeah, I feel like today's world, it's okay because there's a lot that comes with being outside, and you
yeah,
know that.
there is a lot that comes with being outside. And I think that today too, like kids can't even go outside no more. Like when I was Trey Saya's age, you couldn't find me. I didn't want to be in the house. I wish I would. Like we were talking earlier, me and Shalana were talking on the phone earlier, and Prince. Her 8-year-old came in the room and he was like, Mom, I'm bored. We would have
Right.
never told our parents
Right.
we were bored because, baby, if you're bored, get on in here and clean up this house. Okay.
Right. I was just about to say that's what they would have us do. Yeah, when you ain't got nothing to do, get to cleaning up that room, clean up
Yeah,
everything.
take your bored ass in there and wash them dishes. Do you hear me? And so, I mean, I can't even think of a time where I told my son when he said he was bored, well, get your bored ass in here and come clean up this room. Like, it's like, well, you're bored, honey. Well, what do you want to do? You know,
Yeah.
you know?
The world is your oyster.
Yeah, well, what do you want to do? You know, and it's just like
Yeah.
there was no happy medium. Oh my gosh. I see some comments on your end if you want to.
Yeah, we got Ani on. Let me see. Where did we go? Okay, she going back up. Where did we stop at?
Here, I got them right here.
I'm my thing got
So
stuck.
she says, I just recently learned that I don't want friends and I can't trust people the way I used to. I have taught myself that not everyone is your friend for
Oh,
me. I was a social butterfly, but now I'm the complete opposite. Is that good?
okay.
Um,
Ani, you're still a social butterfly, girlfriend, because as far as, yeah, you've had your experiences with the wrong type of people and trusting the wrong type of people, but I know your personality. When you're back surrounded by the right type of people, you're going to be back flourishing. This is just your isolation time. God got you sitting by yourself because you got to focus, and you got one more year left that you need to be focused on.
Yeah, and I really feel like people need to understand that right now too. Like you're going to go through periods of isolation, and in those
Yeah.
periods of isolation, sometimes God needs just you and him. That's
Yep.
it. And a lot of people don't understand, well, this person stopped messing with me, or oh, my life is just getting to a point where I can't stand being around people and this and this and that. Like that is because that is genuinely where God has you at right now. And you need to be
Yep.
praising God and really sitting down and taking time in silence to figure out like what is it that you need to learn from this time, because the thing that I've learned is through isolation, those are the best times. I
Yeah.
learned the
Yeah.
most. I gained the most out of those times of being away from everybody and it just me and him.
Yeah.
So honey, if you're feeling like you're isolated right now and you don't want to be around people, it's for a reason, baby girl. Pick up your Bible, start studying, start praying, start spending time to yourself and trying to figure out what it is that God has for you to do in this season. Because in the next season, He's going to need you to use what you're going through right now
Yep.
for somebody else. Because what y'all don't understand is it's never for you. It's never for you. Any kind of
For the
blessing
greater
that you
good.
get, knowledge, any wisdom, clarity, it's never for you. It's always for somebody else. Our
Yeah.
lives are intertwined and connected to other people for a reason. And so he's probably removing people that can't go with you to the next step.
Yeah.
And that's why you feel alone right now.
I just seen her comment talking about auntie is blunt. Yeah, I'm very blunt when you ask. And that's why I have that policy, because I have learned, and going back to, hurting other people and trying not to hurt other people, I have learned about myself that I am very blunt and I'm very direct. So that's why I have that policy to where basically don't ask, don't tell. If you ask, you shall receive. Because with me being so blunt, I don't just spew my opinions on other people, about them or what they got going on, or not even, just how I see life. Like, I don't just put that all on another person. So for me, if you come to me and you ask me a question, that means in my head that you are secure enough for the answer, no matter how outlandish it is.
Yeah,
So
she's definitely that
that's
friend.
that's how I work. If you come to me and ask me something, then yeah, you're gonna get the raw deal, Holyfield. And like I say, if you ask, that means you can handle it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really feel like that's why me and you have been so close for so long, because we're really that all the way 100 down to the nitty gritty. Like,
Yeah.
I know if I need somebody who's not going to sugarcoat and is going to give it to me all the way 1,000, even if it goes against everything I think I know, I'm going to call Shalanda. Like, I'm going to call her, and we're probably going to be on the phone for hours,
Yeah.
and we're probably going to get to the bottom of it. And she's probably going to make me look at the situation a totally different way. And not only that, but we've learned to understand where
Yeah,
each other is at right there in that very moment. So while it might seem outlandish to somebody else, the conversations that we have or the understanding that we have as friends, it makes perfect sense for us. Like,
right. And you're the same way with me, because when I have, when I need somebody to not, I'm gonna say not, because I don't feel like Nicole and Kiera baby me in our conversations, but they're a lot more sensitive. So when I do need that hardcore person that's gonna give it to me straight and not give a damn about my feelings, I do call you, because they do care about my feelings I mean, you care about my feelings, but just how we are and how we communicate with each other, you're that person that I call as well when I need somebody to kick it to me straight, no chaser. When
yeah,
I need something to burn in my chest, you're who I call.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I like that, because I love that, actually, because I can admit, I get in my feelings, and I will admit, this is me being accountable for me, you guys. When I am in the midst of my hurt, I am one of those people that all I see is the hurt. I don't see nothing else. Nothing else. It takes for somebody with Ashley's type of conversation or her type of boldness to be like, shut up. You just, you know what I'm saying? This is how you feel right now. I know you. This ain't, and she will argue with me about me. So
yeah,
sometimes you need somebody who will remind you who you are, and who will remind you that, hey, you're just hurting right now, but
yeah.
this ain't you. You know what I'm saying? So I love that. Like, I love that for us.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm telling y'all, like me and Shay, we've been really good friends for a long time, and it's because of that. Like, I don't get on the phone and run my mouth with nobody. I can tell you anything that goes on in my house, in my mind, in my thoughts. She knows it because
Yeah.
I'm gonna call her and we're gonna have a conversation. And usually we're on the phone for like 4 or 5 hours at a time because we don't get to talk to each other all the time. We're busy. But
Yeah.
when we do, we call each other and we unpack, and
Yeah.
we literally unpack everything. And
So
then
we
by
can
the
go
time
about
you
our
get off
business.
the phone, we don't talk to each other again for another 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, sometimes a week or two, and it used to be
It don't
longer
be
than
that
that.
long, because if we go that long, Ashley be done call me no matter what I'm doing. I'm just calling you because I haven't talked to you in 3 days. So don't let her get to lying. You will. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not that codependent. She's lying. Okay. If it's
Mm.
72 hours, I do feel like that's a little outlandish. And I need to know what she's been doing. That's made it so it's been 3 days that she
There we
hasn't picked
go.
up the phone and called. Accountability. Okay. Sometimes I do get a little bit. And then she keeps talking about y'all, all these extra friends she has all of a sudden. Let's talk about
We're
this.
not even about to go there,
We
because we're
are.
talking about hurt people hurt people. We're not talking about my
And I
friends.
feel like this is her hurt ass trying to hurt me, talking about all these new friends that she has, and she don't have no new friends. Okay, if
You
she
don't
has
need,
any new friends on her side watching right now, you're not her friend. Okay, I'm her friend,
y'all
and
can
that's
see
it.
how she did, y'all. It's okay. It's okay.
All right, we're moving on now. So
Yes, move on.
yeah. Anyway, now that we got that out there, she's not your friend. Okay, she's your associate.
I'm not about to play with you. Do we have comments in the
Oh
comments?
yes, let me look. Yes, let me look. Um,
Oh,
Yes. Okay. So Michelle says, I was a people fixer for a long time, figured out I can't do that. And then she says, I wouldn't give my battles to my worst enemy.
yes, I'm with you there. I understand that one.
D says, sometimes you don't know who has your back or who will hurt you. So I'm sociable. I just choose to stay to myself. It's better that way. I do things with my hubby and family. Never know friends because friends can hurt you and family can too. Y'all,
Yeah.
let's talk about that. I feel
What?
like family has the ability to hurt you worse than anybody else does. And that's just being
Yeah.
completely transparent. I feel like they have the ammunition
Yeah.
to absolutely make you want to crash out before
Yeah.
anybody else. Well, for me, anyways. Like my family, I have people in my family that I literally will crash out, like, leave me alone. And it just is a couple words, and I'm in crash out mode. To
Yeah.
where other people in the world, like, they can say what they want to say, like, whatever. Like, okay, who are you? But I feel like when it's somebody that I love or that I really care about and they say something that makes me want to crash out, like I really want to crash.
But I
Still to
agree
this day.
there. My granny always says that. My papa's mother, um, that's one saying that she has. She will always say, sometimes family will hurt you the most because that's who you love the most. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? And they know what to use. And she always said that, like from the time I met her, she would tell me that sometimes, baby, sometimes family will hurt you the most because they the ones you love the most. And
Yep.
I see that, like, that's some real stuff. That is real stuff.
Yeah, they have the ability to do so. And so that's why when I'm reading on these comments, like, baby girl, like, it hurts
Yeah.
like that because it's your mother. And
Yeah.
honestly, like, I feel like you're at an age now where have you tried to sit down and have a conversation with your mom? Like, have you expressed to her that this hurts you or this is how this makes you feel? Because I feel like, sometimes, well, I know for me as a parent, like if my son were to come to me, the reason I stopped smoking cigarettes is because my son came, he would say it all the time, like, Mom, why are you smoking those? Why are you doing that? Like this and this and that. And he used to make me think, like, bro, leave me alone. But at the same time, like looking at my son, like, how would I feel if my son walked in the house smoking a cigarette? I'd be upset. I don't want to smoke a
Yeah.
cigarette. I don't want him smoking weed. I don't want him doing that kind of stuff. So what do I look like telling him, hey, don't do that? And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like I really believe like we went through the stuff that we went through as far as trials and tribulations and partying and kicking and stuff because that's what we grew up seeing. We was the life
Yeah.
of the party.
Yeah.
Our parents were the life of the party. And so when we grew up and we were able to start partying, we immediately started partying. I was still in my uncle's roaches out the ashtray, him and my auntie's roaches out the ashtray at a young age. As soon as they left for me to watch the kids, guess where I was at? In the
Right.
studio in the ashtray. Straight up. I'm going to go get that because I watched them do that. And so for me, like, I want to be a do as I do type parent, not do as I say.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely understand that. She says she has had these conversations, and what is it says? And she says she's an adult and she can do what she wants. Oh, or gets mad and gets defensive. Now I will say this,
Mm,
Ani. I mean, because we talking about all this, I will say this because I know you and you are my niece and you're also my Taurus niece. Sometimes, baby, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Because you are also like Ashley and I, you're very direct and you can be a little too blunt. And and this is what I tell for all my young people that are dealing with things with their parents, how you talk to your parents is everything. Because, and I say this being a parent, I'm gonna say this from parent perspective, because I tell my children, you can come talk to me about anything, but how you deliver it, like when we start the conversation off, how you deliver it is gonna determine how the rest of the conversation flows. So this is why I always try to give advice and pointers on how to start conversations off. Because Ani, I know you, and you are very direct, like your auntie. You hit straight to the point. And sometimes when you're talking about a hurtful manner with your parent, you can't you can't be so you can't be so aggressive with it. You know what I'm saying? That's a conversation that y'all really need to have, that's soft and that's low key and intimate. That's something that y'all need to do because I know you can be blunt like me. And that's why I tell you sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And just try a different approach. And but we'll talk after this and we'll see how things go.
I will say too, though, and this comes from dealing with alcoholics for quite a long time in my life. Most people who are alcoholics, they don't see it as being wrong or they don't see it as being an
Yeah.
alcoholic. So it's going to be really hard for you to express that, especially if she's in the middle of her mess,
Yeah.
because they don't see an issue with it. Or most people who are alcoholics, they don't even think they're alcoholics. They just drink. I ain't no alcoholic. I just drink. You're still an alcoholic. Okay. If you
Um,
have to wake up and drink every day and you drink every day, you are an alcoholic. I don't care what you say or how you look at it. You are very much so an alcoholic. But a lot of people don't
mm,
see it that way. And so for me, like, you can't make her see that way, baby girl, like,
yeah.
as bad as you want to.
Mm, yeah. I don't know. That's a sticky. Like I said, Ani, I'm gonna call you after this, and we're gonna sit and talk.
There she goes being blunt and direct again.
Yeah, because we're gonna talk. You know, yeah, yeah. It's. I just know when it comes when it comes down to the hurt between mother and daughter, daughter and mother, that's like a different, that's different. Because, two females, they bump heads, first of all, like son and father, like, because I know males that carry a lot of hurt and resentment for their fathers too as well. So I feel like when it comes to those type of conversations between a son and a dad and a daughter and a mother, those are conversations that can be a little more complex, um, in my opinion. And so, yeah, Ani, that's definitely a conversation that I'm gonna have with you after this podcast.
My daughter said, Team Taurus, baby.
Hey,
Yes, my daughter's April 21st, like me. So we're both big Taurus, not the little ones. Okay.
Y'all are Aries Tauruses.
Listen, we're Tauruses. Okay. Don't play.
That's
The
why
big
y'all so
Taurus, not the
aggressive.
little ones. We're not May Tauruses. We're April Tauruses.
Okay. Yeah, the April ones.
Yes, the right ones. Yes.
Anyways, we're not about to go there.
Okay.
So, yeah. Anyways.
But we are going to start winding down for the night, you guys. We have been on for a little bit over an hour and a half. We want to give your guys' Sunday back to you. I did just drop our social media in the comments. For those of you guys who do not follow us on TikTok and YouTube, please make sure that you do that for me today. Make sure that you guys share our video out so that we get the exposure and people on here. We are live every Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. I just dropped those in the comments over here too. We are live. What was that?
I don't know.
Okay, cool. Never mind. Okay. So we are live 6 p.m. Central Standard Time every Sunday with Heightened and Enlightened, the live show. Next week.
Do we need to just?
No, I can tell you what we're talking about. I always think that I have it ready, and then I get to this part, and I'm like, well, what do we want to talk about? So we have a list of different stuff we can talk about, and so I like to shake things up. I don't like going in a certain order as I should, because we all have it planned out. But
well, we actually didn't have the order planned out. We just wrote them down in the list. So I think we had 3 that we already went over. But either way it go. And I want to do something a little different. You know what I'm saying? Ashley, we should ask, if you guys have any topics that you think that we should address that we haven't, this would be the time, you know what I'm saying? Let us know. Shoot something out there, because some people might want to talk about something that we haven't spoke about yet, or that's not on our list.
All right. So next week, we are going to talk about children raising children. So that's going to be the topic for next week. Let's just throw that out there. Let's go with that one. I think that'll be a good one.
Raising children. What y'all think about that?
And so for those of you guys who do not know, children raising children is basically you and your inner child, and being a child and having to raise, like me. I had to raise my younger sibling and my brother, who wasn't that bright. He is the older brother, but you would never be able to tell. And so the responsibilities that we put on our children at a young age to raise other children that we might have, and it might not even be your other children. It might be cousins, nieces, and nephews, and things like that they might kind of step into a parenting role at a young age. And so they kind of miss out on their childhood, and they don't really get to experience the things that a child should. So that's what we'll be talking about. Huh?
I said, that's going to be a deep one.
Yeah, so that's what we'll be talking about next week. Children raising children, or young mothers who have children at a young age.
Woo-hoo!
And grow up with their children because they were still a child themselves when they gave birth to their child. So that's what we'll be talking about next week, you guys. You guys make sure that you tune in. Shalonda, any final thoughts from you?
No, really, just I will remind you all again, going off of this topic, hurt people. You guys go through the hurt, feel the hurt, get through the hurt. It's worth it. It's worth it. And you'll be all right. Trust me, you'll be fine. So I wish all of you guys happiness, and I wish all of you guys, like I like to say, happy healing on your spiritual journey, on your growth, on the new you. That's my
All
final thought.
right, guys. Well, that's a wrap for tonight's show, Heightened and Enlightened. Tonight we got real because the truth is hurt people do hurt people.
Yeah.
But healing people, we're the ones that change the story. And so we're glad that you guys got on here for the healing journey. Like I said, if you guys don't follow us on TikTok and YouTube, please make sure you do so. Also, if you guys are not on our Heightened and Enlightened Facebook page, please head over there, like, subscribe so you guys get notifications from us when we are live. If you saw yourself in tonight's conversation, know this: awareness is the first step. Okay,
Yes.
but compassion, especially for yourself, is the key to healing. Keep doing the work, keep showing up, keep choosing healing over harm. Until next time, you guys, be gentle, be grounded, and always stay heightened and enlightened. We love you guys, and we'll see you next Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Right.
Peace out. It's always that awkward goodbye.
I know, right?